Voting is now stopped. The ballot papers are now being counted in the Conservative Party leadership. The MP's job is now effectively done. We're just waiting for the result, which will then be passed on to the party faithful to vote before September. Now, I've been fairly negative about this whole process and about the backbiting and the nastiness that it has produced. It's also produced a vacuum in our politics. It hasn't been helped by problems in Italy. It hasn't been helped by problems in Sri Lanka and so on around the world. And attention has moved away from Ukraine. So I'm not surprised at all that Russia is now peddling some of the most bizarre stories for its own propaganda market, its own domestic propaganda market. One of the more extreme is that Ukraine is producing super soldiers, bionic adversaries, and that this is being done with the help of the United States and the West, and that poor Russia is now targeted with technology that it cannot possibly hope to combat. In return for this, Putin has made it quite clear that he's now not content with the Donbass, that he's going to move further and move further into Ukraine. Why? Because of the threat posed by the long-range missiles which have been produced and given to Ukraine by the West. This is simply an excuse and a hole that should have been plugged. We haven't plugged it because we have been introspective, navel-gazing, frankly onanistic, and I'm afraid I am slightly censorious of the Conservative Party for leaving the back door open like that to obsess about its own future. And in that obsession about its own future, it is fascinating that Ukraine has hardly merited a word. People are sort of obsessing about the problems of finance, which are very grave and which affect many of us in this country. People are obsessing about levelling up and what that actually means. And the question of our security against Russian aggression has really gone on to a back burner. That doesn't worry us. It should worry us, particularly when Liz Truss, a person who has been pilloried by Foreign Minister Lavrov, is one of the front runners, and at the moment, we'll see in 45 minutes, she may well be poised to become Prime Minister. That will send a message out to Mr. Putin that we are monumentally weak and that we are so self-obsessed we will not care about what is going on elsewhere. And if Liz Truss wishes to go across to Russia and bash the desk in the same sort of way as she was bashing it in February, she would do more harm than good. We can only hope that if Liz Truss is the next Prime Minister, that she will appoint somebody with sense, like Tom Tugendhat, to be her Foreign Secretary, and that there will be some calm and understanding. I'm also equally, of course, horrified that if Liz Truss is Prime Minister, Nadine Dorries may well remain in her post in the Department of Digital Media, Culture and Sport, and will continue to ignore the very real concerns that are being expressed not only by me but by others about the way reality television is taking over the medium, and it's cheap television that is being made at the expense of people's lives. And the propaganda which is put out and the objections to reality TV are being parodied by not only media outlets who are dependent on feeds from reality TV production companies, but also by people like Nadine Dorries herself who concoct ridiculous stories that actually cheapen the debate further. This is a debate about people who are exploited and who are manipulated to the extent that they commit suicide or have serious health problems because of their experience on reality TV. I think it's really worthwhile, if you want to follow this up, looking up a podcast available on Audible called Edge of Reality. I contributed to that. I'm rather proud of my involvement in that podcast and of the things which are being said otherwise on the podcast. And it seems to me to be a very coherent and very worrying narrative, but it's one that I must say I've been aware of for some time. It's very refreshing to realise that that is a narrative which is being put forward independently of me. But I am, of course, very proud to be included in a small way. So there we are. The future of the UK is being decided in the next 40 minutes.